Yo, if you like reggae music, if you know what time it is, we got one of the realest writers in the game, one of the realest artists in the game. We're going to have some real talk with him. Plus, he's performing at SOB's Who's Next tomorrow. Give it up for Serani in the building.
It's Serani.
Yeah, man. You had a lot of big hits, man. It's been like 2 years since your last hit?
2010, 11.
Yeah. Big songs.
Yeah.
Went top 40 your songs.
Yeah.
Big. And are you still writing for a lot of artists who are coming out of Jamaica?
Yeah, I mean, well, actually, I'm writing for a young act named Deep Joy.
Okay.
You know, I just gave him the festival song, the #1 song for festival in Jamaica.
Okay.
Right, so that's my latest hit.
And so you, we were talking before we started the interview. You said there's some things going on politically in the music culture of Jamaica that you wanted to get off your chest. You feeling like local Jamaican radio's not supporting you?
Well, I think Jamaica is so funny. Jamaica, the biggest station in Jamaica right now, they hardly even play dancehall.
Really?
Yeah.
So what are they playing?
They playing all sorts of different kind of genres.
Like top 40, rap?
Yes, everything, right? Now, when everybody outside of Jamaica says dancehall is not doing well, how can it do well if it's not even getting promoted that much by the biggest station in Jamaica, the most popular station? You understand?
Yeah.
So it's affecting dancehall in general, and then they also stick to mainly hardcore music.
What do you mean when you say that?
Like just
gully
exactly
music,
gangster stuff.
Right. So for somebody like me, you know, that wants to make good quality music,
or you make a lot of love songs. That's your specialty.
Right. That's my strong point. You know, I know games and whatever. Somebody like me making songs like that, I don't even fit in to the 5 minutes that they play dancehall for, you know. I'm exaggerating, but you get me.
You know, a similar thing is happening here.
Right.
Even at Hot 97, right? A lot of what you're saying is the exact same sentiment
that people have about us.
That people have about Hot 97, because they say Hot 97 only plays thug music, or we only play South music, or what are the other things we only play? We only play...
Now we play pop.
Now we play some pop titles. So the mishmash that is become radio is obviously happening in Jamaica also.
Right.
Because even a station like Hot 97 that made its name predominantly playing rap music, now we're playing, I'm trying to think of some titles that are big. What's the Clean Bandit little pop song, or Sam
I heard you're
Smith,
playing Sam Smith too.
Latch,
yeah.
Disclosure,
right.
which is a big song. And these songs are big in the parties, and they're playing with the hip-hop records, so we're just playing them on the radio because people like them.
Right.
Right? But then you have artists that are coming up like, yo, we can't get regular hip-hop, dope shit on the radio.
Here's the question I have for you, Serani. When people make this argument about hip-hop in the United States, they often get something wrong, which is they say, you know, it used to be that you used to play this, that, and the next all the time. And a lot of times people recreate the past to sound better than it was. When in actuality, growing up, as someone who studied radio and wanted to do it, I can tell you most of the really good music was played at night, and most of the daytime was kind of like now. Mainstream music, blah, 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 slow songs, R&B.
Exactly.
And hardcore hip-hop was at night. But when people retell history, they'll be like, it used to be shook ones 24 hours a day. So my question for you is, in Jamaica, did there really used to be much more dance hall on all the time?
Well, up until, I'd say before 5 years ago, yeah.
Even during the day?
Yeah.
And more of a variety of dance hall as opposed to just...
Right. Definitely more of a variety, you know what I mean? You definitely had more good songs. There was a point that when
now,
it was
when you're
more,
using the word good, you're meaning in context of the lyrics being more about love, family, life. What do you mean when you say good?
Quality, like that kind of deep songs that really have feeling and emotion, and everybody.
Because some people would argue that the gully stuff and the gangster stuff is good.
No, I think it's good enough. But check this: when you make songs that your mom can listen to, your kid can listen to, that's quality music to me. You understand? I mean, I'm not saying I make hardcore songs, you know, but I know that they don't have as much substance as when I say, in this time and in this city, I gotta make that money because mama's still hungry. You understand? Like that kind of song, you know, that it reaches to my mom, it reaches to her mom, it reaches to my kid. You understand? Right.
As opposed to songs which are good, but they have a time and place because not everyone can listen
There you
to them.
go. There's a time and place. You know, there's a time, like these hardcore songs there for the club.
How do you feel that the Jamaican community responds to reggae artists, dancehall artists when they do more of that stuff and when they go more mainstream? You know what I'm saying? Like, what is the response to a lot of artists? Like a guy like Sean Paul, for example, good friend of the show, who's become a very mainstream international artist. Even though his roots were, you know, making hardcore, real Jamaican records, real dancehall 45s, they were pressing them in Jamaica. Now he's an international, worldwide superstar. What do you think the response is like for artists when they do go that route? Do they still get love in Jamaica?
Well, to me, it's all about how you deal with it as an artist. You know what I mean? Because I think Jamaicans appreciate us as artists stepping out and actually making something more of ourselves. So I think Jamaica respects Sean Paul and adores him, you know?
Because in part because he's become an international superstar.
Definitely because he's become an international superstar. And look on even Shaggy. I'd say Shaggy is a perfect example. Shaggy is what you do with it. Shaggy is exactly what you're supposed to do with this kind of superstardom. Shaggy, he's taken his success and he has a charity show, right? And that's for in aid of the Bustamante Hospital, right? And Shaggy has, the whole country has embraced Shaggy as their big international superstar.
Even though he had the most mainstream,
success
ever,
but
the most
also,
crossover sounding
Shaggy
songs.
makes sure that he becomes what you're saying, like he's an ambassador for the music and the culture around the world, goes back, gives back, pulls artists, helps artists organize their music.
Right.
And Jamaica don't have a choice but to embrace him.
Right.
So what's happening, and I don't know who owns the radio station down in Jamaica, like what the company is, the big company that owns it. But for everybody listening, watching right now that's wondering why you're experiencing that in Jamaica on the radio, and the same thing is happening in New York City and around the country. This isn't just, what's happening is fragmentation, right? Because everyone can go get their content on YouTube, on Spotify, Pandora, Beats Music, whatever your platform is you're using, and you can get exactly what you want when you want it. Many mainstream outlets are treating music almost like Walmart treats products. And the most popular things are getting pushed to the forefront of the store and placed on the shelves. And the things that, the products that people were like, oh, well, you used to feature this, this, and that, those are either not being carried anymore because they didn't sell enough. Right? Meaning they didn't sell enough records, or the ratings weren't high enough every time they played, or they're being put on, you know, hot97.com, you go up there, or a late night show like Rosenberg's or K Slay's on this station is for us to incubate this new product, or the mix shows or the clubs or anything like that, and then we research it before we put it on prime time. And that's kind of what's changed a lot, is now mainstream radio stations aren't taking the risks that they used to take on music. They're letting the internet,
too much competition,
because
they can't afford to risk when they're going up against so much competition. And I don't know if this is true in Jamaica, but also here you have a huge conglomerate that owns so many radio stations.
Clear Channel.
Yeah, well, I understand.
So if Clear Channel decides to support a record, right? If they all decide to play "Shake It Off" by Taylor Swift at one time, which they did, and that song overnight, because it gets played on 500 radio stations, becomes a hit. If you're another radio station trying to compete, how can you not play that song? You have to offer that song.
That's what everyone's talking about.
That's what everyone wants to hear. So now they end up forcing the hand, because one company owns so much, it forces so many other people's hands, and it ends up being a watered-down product across the board. And that was just learning radio from the guys here at Hot 97.
Hey, thanks. But Serani's at SOBs, and Serani's still putting out quality music.
Yeah.
And you now when you tour, and this is what's happening in radio, which is a beautiful thing, especially for hip-hop, right? Hip-hop has gone back to the live performance. Hip-hop has gone back to the clubs. Hip-hop has gone back to, I'll call it the streets for lack of a better term, the internet, right? Where people were, you know what I'm saying? People call the internet the street now. It's gone back to these places where, look, you can't just get into this music because you want to just get rich quick. Right? Because you ain't just gonna get your song on the radio, get a record deal, get a fat check, and then boom, you done. Like, remember that was the 90s. That's over. Now it's back to, yo, if you love this music, you gotta write some music, you gotta learn how to perform some music, you gotta learn how to get a tour going, you gotta learn how to create a following using all your social medias and Facebooks and whatever you're gonna create, and then people start giving you attention, and then you might get a shot on the radio.
Might.
You might. If you pop it. I mean, that's where the Kendricks come from.
Yeah.
Right? Kendrick Lamar comes from that. It's where Childish Gambino comes from.
Right, they forced the hand of
because their followings were so big on their own. Radio was like, yo, this shit is moving. We got to play this. Obviously, people like it. The Weeknd. Party Next Door. I'm trying to think of some other groups that are bubbling. Even Bobby Shmurda. It was big on Vine and everything and this and that. We played it in the mix shows here and there, and the next thing you know, it took off. Now we're going to see if Bobby Shmurda survives and comes with another hit, but you know what I'm saying? Like, that's how it works now. It's not just all about radio like it used to be.
Yeah.
And that's where things have changed. So now for you and the artists coming out of Jamaica, y'all got to start doing those tours around Jamaica, get those parties hot, make sure the DJs come out and see this movement. And internationally, what's the kid, Chronix?
Yeah.
Chronix International is out of here.
Yeah.
Humongous. Are they playing
Big
him
respect to Chronix. Yeah, man, they play him in Jamaica.
He's getting play.
Yeah.
So, and they play a lot of his hits or just a couple here and there? Because he's got, what,
play
2
him.
albums?
They play him. They play him.
So he's getting some love, but he
Yeah.
worked for it, right? He went,
For sure.
He went to festivals around the world, Africa, and then it probably got popping for him.
Well, I don't know. I honestly don't know the process, but I just know it's doing well. So
Yeah.
Who
big
else?
respect to Chronix.
Who else is doing well right now? Who else is there? Who else is actually getting their due from
Alkaline?
Jamaica Radio?
Alkaline,
Yeah, right
Alkaline's
now,
getting big. Cranium out of Queens. You put Cranium on early in the game.
Yeah, I used to bring Cranium out. You know, big respect to Cranium. Very talented artist.
Good kid, too.
Yeah, man, good guy.
So what do you got in store for us at SOBs tomorrow?
Yo, I got a brand new joint.
All right.
It's In My Arms. Another love song. And as it suggests, ladies, you don't know, I'm here, protector, security, you know. So when you see the open arms, you belong, you understand?
Can you give us a little taste? Can you give us a little something?
I performed last night, so the voice
See what you can do.
it's kind
See
of
what
messed
you
up,
can
but let's just see. There's a place you belong, secure and strong. I'll do you no wrong, girl. In my arms and in my palm, next to my heart, bid you sweet charm. I love you, you. Yeah, you know something.
Serani, give it up, yo. SOBs tomorrow. Let's get the song on right now. Ebro in the morning. Thank you for coming, man.
Yeah, man.
We'll
Much
see you
respect,
tomorrow.
Ebro.
SOBs.
Yeah, man.